What if I told you that The Chosen, a show about Jesus, wasn't just impacting Christians, but actually turning atheists into believers? It sounds unbelievable, right? But the truth is, the show is doing just that, and it's completely changing the way people view faith. In a recent interview, Jonathan Rumi, who plays Jesus, revealed some incredible stories that are sure to leave you stunned. Atheists who never thought they'd be interested in God are watching this series and finding themselves completely transformed. It's a phenomenon that no one saw coming, and it's making waves far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Section 1. It all started when Jonathan Rumi opened up about his personal experiences with The Chosen. After years of staying relatively silent about the deeper impact of the show, his recent interview had the world listening. What he shared was powerful, life-changing even, for many people. Rumi talked about messages he received from viewers who had previously been lifelong atheists, living without any real belief in God or a higher power. These individuals were skeptical, disconnected, and had no interest in anything that challenged their worldview. But then, something changed. These same people found themselves compelled to watch the show after being introduced to it by friends or family. And what happened next is nothing short of extraordinary. As Jonathan recounted, the first episode of The Chosen grabs hold of you in a way that no one expects. It's not just about a historical retelling of Jesus' life. It's about a deep, emotional, and spiritual connection that hits people in the most unexpected ways. For many of these atheists, it wasn't just about being entertained. It was about something deeper, something life-altering. Watching The Chosen triggered something inside them, a spark that led them to open their minds to faith. Rumi shared stories of people who, after just a few episodes, began reading the Bible, attending church, and even undergoing spiritual conversions that they never thought were possible. The Chosen didn't just change their perspective, it altered the very core of who they were. The stories Rumi shared weren't about people who had been on a lifelong journey to find God. They were about people who had never even thought about it. And yet, here they were, believers. The transformation was remarkable, as Rumi described it. He said it best when he talked about how watching the show pushed these viewers into a deeper search for truth. It's a powerful reminder of how impactful storytelling can be when done with authenticity and a purpose. What really stood out in this interview wasn't just the shocking transformations, but the fact that these weren't isolated incidents. This wasn't just one or two people whose lives had changed. It was a growing number of people from all walks of life who were finding themselves inexplicably drawn to the show. As Rumi scrolled through his Instagram messages, it became clear just how widespread this was. His followers, many of whom had been atheists or non-religious, started sharing their experiences, talking about how watching The Chosen was opening doors they never thought would be unlocked. Some mentioned how they'd never considered Christianity before, but suddenly found themselves asking deep, philosophical questions about the nature of faith, truth, and purpose. It's a ripple effect, one person telling another, which leads to more people being exposed to a message of hope and redemption they never expected. The beauty of The Chosen is that it doesn't preach. It simply tells the story. It allows people to see the life of Jesus through fresh eyes, portraying him as human and relatable, not just divine. And that's something that resonates with so many, especially those who've never experienced religion or faith in a meaningful way. Jonathan Rumi mentioned that it was never about pushing an agenda, but about portraying Jesus authentically. His own relationship with Christ deeply influences how he plays the role, bringing a genuine love and understanding to the character that transcends the screen. When asked about playing Jesus, Rumi was clear, "What I bring to the role is my relationship to Christ, my love for him." He believes that by trying to portray the love Jesus had for humanity, he, in turn, becomes a better person, more loving, more compassionate, more connected to the world around him. And that authenticity is what viewers are responding to. This is where the magic of The Chosen lies, not just in its ability to entertain, but in its ability to transform people. It's not about forcing religion on anyone, it's about showing the power of love and faith in a way that feels real and human. For many atheists, watching the show didn't feel like an attack on their beliefs. Instead, it felt like an invitation to something greater, a journey that didn't require abandoning their current worldview, but opened them up to explode As we delve deeper into the impact of The Chosen, we can't ignore the role Jonathan Rumi's personal journey plays in the transformation that so many viewers are experiencing. While it's easy to be swept away by the dramatic storylines and incredible performances, what makes The Chosen stand out is its authenticity, particularly in how it's grounded in Rumi's own faith. Jonathan's dedication to portraying Jesus with such sincerity isn't just an act, it's the core of what makes the show so powerful. For someone like Rumi, playing the role of Jesus is not just about memorizing lines or following a script. It's about becoming the character, embodying the love, compassion, and sacrifice that Jesus represents. And that dedication is felt by everyone who watches. When asked in interviews how he manages to portray Jesus so authentically, Rumi often talks about his personal connection to Christ. It's not just about being a good actor, it's about bringing a real sense of love for humanity to the role. He's explained that his relationship with Jesus is at the heart of his portrayal. "What I bring to the role is my relationship to Christ, my love for him," he said. This isn't just some actor trying to play a character. Rumi is deeply connected to his role, and it's that connection that allows him to bring an unparalleled depth to the character of Jesus. This kind of authenticity is contagious. When viewers see Rumi's portrayal, they don't just see an actor on screen, they see someone who truly believes in the message he's sharing. That's what makes the portrayal so compelling, and it's why it resonates so deeply with those who are searching for answers. But this authenticity goes beyond just the performances. It's about the overall approach of the show itself. The Chosen isn't a conventional biblical retelling. It's not trying to lecture viewers or dictate their beliefs. Instead, it invites them into a story, giving them the freedom to explore faith on their own terms. And that's exactly why it's attracting people from all walks of life, including those who've never believed in God before. The show gives them space to experience the life of Jesus through the eyes of his followers, understanding him not just as a figure of divinity, but as a person, a friend, a teacher, a healer, and yes, a revolutionary. What Rumi highlighted in his interview is that the connection between the audience and the show is incredibly personal. Many people who had previously dismissed religion or spirituality are now finding themselves intrigued by the deeper messages that The Chosen presents. Rumi shared stories of atheists who, after watching just the first episode, found themselves on a new spiritual journey. These were people who had no intention of turning to Christianity, yet something in the way Jesus was portrayed on screen, something about the simplicity, the humanity, the compassion, drew them in. It wasn't about convincing them to believe in a doctrine, it was about showing them why they should believe in love, hope, and grace. And that's what The Chosen does so uniquely. It's not just a show, it's a conversation. And sometimes, that conversation can change a person's life in ways they never thought possible. One of the most powerful aspects of The Chosen is its ability to create a sense of community, both on and off the screen. Rumi's personal faith, combined with the faith of the creators, shines through in every aspect of the production. The actors, the writers, and the directors aren't just telling a story, they're living it. And that sense of shared purpose and conviction translates directly to the audience. This isn't just a show about the life of Jesus, it's a show about all of us, about our human struggles, our relationships, and our ultimate desire to find something greater than ourselves. The emotional weight of the show isn't just in the dramatic moments, it's in the quiet, everyday scenes where people come together, share meals, heal one another, and challenge each other's perspectives. When you step back and look at everything happening around The Chosen, it becomes clear that this is no longer just a TV series. It's a movement that is quietly, yet powerfully, reshaping how people think about faith. What makes it even more fascinating is that many of the people being affected were never looking for anything spiritual in the first place. They didn't tune in to find God, they didn't press play hoping for answers, and yet somehow, through simple storytelling, honest emotion, and deeply human moments, they found themselves questioning everything they once believed. That's the part no one saw coming. Dallas Jenkins has been very open about how emotionally demanding this journey has been, especially as the story moves closer to the crucifixion. He admitted that working on Season 6 has been one of the hardest things he's ever faced, both personally and professionally. And honestly, that makes perfect sense. This isn't just another dramatic storyline. This is the most painful, intense, and spiritually heavy part of the entire story. Knowing that the people behind the show feel that weight tells you how seriously they are taking it. They're not rushing it. They're not treating it lightly. They're fully aware that what they're about to show the world carries deep meaning for millions of viewers, including those who are still unsure about what they believe. What surprised many people is that even before Season 6 has a release date, Season 7 is already being planned and partially funded. Jenkins revealed that a single family donated $2.5 million just to fund the first episode of the final season. And that episode is set to cover the resurrection and the Easter story. Just think about that for a moment. If one episode alone requires that kind of budget, it gives you an idea of how massive and ambitious the final season is going to be. This level of support doesn't come from hype alone. It comes from trust. It comes from people who truly believe this story matters and needs to be told the right way. Another detail that often gets overlooked is where a large part of the donations actually go. The Chosen isn't only raising money to film episodes. A huge portion of that support is used to translate the show into hundreds of languages. Jenkins confirmed that the goal is 600 languages, making it one of the most widely translated shows in history. In fact, the series recently broke a Guinness World Record for its translation efforts. That alone tells you how serious the mission is. This isn't about limiting the story to one culture or one group of people. It's about making sure anyone, anywhere in the world, can experience it in their own language. And this is where everything comes full circle. A show that started as a crowd-funded project has now become a global phenomenon. A series about Jesus is reaching atheists, skeptics, and non-religious viewers, not through pressure or preaching, but through empathy, humanity, and storytelling. People aren't being told what to believe. They're simply being shown a story, and that story is doing the rest. It's opening hearts, it's starting conversations, and in some cases, it's completely changing lives. What's truly powerful is that The Chosen doesn't demand instant belief. It allows space for doubt. It allows room for questions. And for many atheists, that's exactly why it works. They don't feel judged. They don't feel cornered. They feel invited. Invited to watch. Invited to think. Invited to feel. And sometimes, that's all it takes for something to shift deep inside a person. As Season 6 approaches, the anticipation isn't just about what will happen on screen. It's about what will happen within the audience. If earlier seasons were able to move atheists toward faith, what will happen when the story reaches its most emotional and painful chapter? And looking ahead to the resurrection in Season 7, one thing feels certain. This journey is far from over. So whether you see The Chosen as a show, a story, or something much bigger, there's no denying its impact. It's changing minds in silence. It's touching hearts unexpectedly. And it's proving that sometimes the most powerful transformations happen when you least expect